Hey, Larry Sharpe here again, here at FreedomFest, having great conversations about values and ethics and respect and all kind of cool things. And I'm very lucky to have here Preity Upala, who is a global thought leader and also a media personality. Please tell me about yourself.
Namaste. Thank you so much, Mr. Sharpe, for this wonderful conversation. My name is Preity Upala, and I'm from Australia, grew up in the Middle East, live in Los Angeles now, and I do many things. I work in the field of media, entertainment, and politics, and I speak around the world. I'm developing a TV show at the moment.
Very nice.
Writing a book, and
so you're not very busy then.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And I'm also I work with many different charities, and I'm a Dharma ambassador, which will be interesting for a conversation. Yeah.
I like that. So you're just kind of a slacker doing nothing. Okay, good. Got it. I understand completely. So this conversation I want to bring up is not about making you think a certain way in any way, shape, or form. I know this is FreedomFest. None of that. Some people lean left, some people lean right, but that's kind of what I want to call your values, whether you lean more conservative or progressive. What I want to ask more about your ethics, meaning when is it okay to use coercion versus when is it better to use persuasion, right? Which puts us more into a world of respect.
Yes.
That idea. So let me ask you if I could. Most people would probably agree that whether you lean left or lean right, that people want to be happy. Would you agree with that?
Most people, yes. Not everyone probably, but most people, yes.
And if someone were to somehow physically accost you in some way, it's going to make you less happy, right? And that's probably every time, right? If someone's going to either break or steal your things, your property, whether that's through theft or through fraud, you're going to be less happy, right? The question is, you and I agree with that.
Yeah.
Do you think others also personally feel the same way? Or no, do most people, or does everybody say, look, I want to be happy, I don't want people to take my stuff, I don't want people to hurt me? Is that universal or no?
That's a great question. Firstly, I think more than being happy, people actually just want to be understood.
Oh, okay.
And they want to be heard, they want to be respected, and they want to be seen.
Got it.
Yeah.
So they want to be seen and respected and heard.
Really understood and respected. That's globally, I would say that is universal.
So if someone was understood and heard, would that mean respected? Or no? Are they separate things?
Yeah, these are semantics, but all of those, what I'm saying is, I think what I've noticed, I've been to 100 countries, and no matter where I go, these are the values or these are the aspirations that people have of all ages, men and women. But what I've noticed with the happiness bit is some people, they want to be happy, but they're not willing to give the courtesy or extend the same courtesy to the other. And I think the space to disagree has shrunk.
Right.
The intolerance, and not intolerance of race or anything like that, but intolerance of thought.
Oh, yes.
Of your perspectives. Your worldviews, I think that's really under threat.
So you're saying that while we may have increased in tolerance of race or creed or background, but sometimes in thought, we're actually going backwards.
Yeah, true diversity is diversity in thought.
Got it.
It's not what you look like, how tall you are, what your skin color is, but it's who are you?
Right.
What are your values? What do you stand for? Which way do you, what are your views on something? And if you have contrarian views, you must be, there should be space for that. So that's what I've seen globally.
So what I'm hearing is, it is about respect.
Yes.
But you think some people, while they want the respect, aren't prepared to give it.
Yeah, and we see this a lot actually around the world. And also your first question was happiness, contentment. Is that universal? It comes down to culture.
Okay.
Many cultures, they will contend with more. I think in America especially, and Europe, I would say, I don't know, we want freedom, we want to go there, we want to live life on our terms, baby.
Yep.
We want to have that hedonistic lifestyle.
That sounds amazing, doesn't it?
All that wonderful stuff.
Yes.
You go to Asia, people will, there's a word called duty, which appears a lot in the East, not so much over here. They will do things that they don't necessarily like doing, but they will do it out of respect because they were taught that way. Respect to the elders is a big one in the East. You know, you go to India, you go to Thailand, you go to China, respecting the elders, respecting your parents, your teachers especially. These, I don't see it so much here. It's very different. And just things that you do out there, social norms, very different. So they may not like doing it, but they will do it.
My question then becomes, if I am in the East, and I decide to do the thing, the duty, aren't I still gaining respect from those around me?
Absolutely, and
because they're saying, "Oh, look, he did the duty thing,"
and they give you huge props. You know what I have to say? I can't speak for other parts of Asia, but I can speak about India. They love foreigners. Oh my God! You start speaking a couple of words in Hindi, or say you love samosas and chai, or do the bhangra or something. They love you. They will open their doors, invite you to their wedding, invite you to their family, into their life. They love that the rest of the world acknowledges and embraces their culture. That's
got
big.
it. Right. I love that. Okay. So I guess with all of that, you would say that there is something that is universal. It may not be happiness, but it is human respect.
I think it's deeper than that. Yes,
it's deeper.
Respect,
it's actually human respect. Okay. I'll buy that. So that is kind of true, and that if we have more human respect, then we will have more happiness.
Everything follows. It's natural, or very organic.
So more happiness, more harmony, more prosperity.
Yes.
It sounds like a principle to me.
A lot easier said than done.
100%. Yes, absolutely. So with that in mind, let me ask you, is there a time or an exception to where we should make an exception to that principle? To where we should say, you know what? I'll give you an example. Say the GOP, the Republican Party, decides we should pass a law that says only certain types of people should get married. Right? And the GOP people passing that law, they're doing it because they think it's the right thing. They think it's going to be a better harmony, better world. They're not trying to be mean. They think it's better. That's kind of going against the principle. Is it an exception? Is there a thing like that that's okay?
Wow, that's a hot potato. I do not think that, you mentioned, they think they're doing the right things based on their values. Those are subjective because the other side actually finds that quite intolerant and not very humane and compassionate. So according to the other side, the opposite side, they would say, actually that's quite discriminatory in many ways. And also, who gives you the right to tell the world or tell our citizens what is right and what is wrong? Who gave you the moral authority? Yes, the Constitution is a sacred document, follow it, but I mean, is this caveat in there? I think Constitution is all about love and respect, you know. So this is a conversation that is going to, I predict, is going to come up in the next few years.
Yes.
Now that Roe v. Wade has been, you know what's going on with that. I think that in the next few, it'll be interesting to see what other laws are going to try to be overturned. But my answer to your question is, I don't think they have the right, because now their values or their understanding of what's right and what's wrong is highly subjective. It's not universal. Many will disagree with them.
Is it okay then? So in this case, you're saying it's not okay to use government coercion?
Yeah, and I think also there is, I think if they would like a world where it's a certain kind of people are getting married, that's fine. You are perfectly in your right. And to be honest, if you want a more harmonious society, perhaps that is the way to go. But there are, I think, awareness, education, even in encouraging people or to build a nice picture is better. I think criminalization is, that is, you're really pushing it there. I don't think that that's lawful or legal.
That now is the ultimate in government coercion.
Yeah, you're going to bring in the law now, marry that with your views of what's right and what's wrong. Come on, what circus are you running, you know?
But you're okay with persuasion. You're okay with showing people this is a better way, or I think my way is right, so please do it.
And also the best is, instead of trying to force people, show them how amazing it is if what you're saying is in practice.
Right.
You know, and to be honest, there are many cases where perhaps, you know, having both parents, you know, of different genders, that does, you know, you need the male-female dynamic. You need a loving, you know, upbringing is everything. Your home, your values, all of that starts at the home, ends there too. So
you're actually saying that there are parts that you would agree and disagree with, but you still respect the people's right to choose what they want.
Yeah, when you start criminalizing the you know, citizens, and you start bringing the law and law and order and all of that, it gets highly dodgy and subjective, and guess what, when the governments change, what happens to those laws? And so it's, you know, it's just going to go back and forth, very disharmonious.
So let me then, I love that you're saying literally coercion is disharmonious.
Yes,
I love
yes,
that.
yes.
But now let me go one step further. This isn't about just my opinion in this case, but this one's going to be about what I think is life and death.
That's different.
Now, this case, I said the GOP does something. Now the Democrats do something. The Democrats say, look, guns are deadly, guns are violent, and I want to save lives, so I'm going to ban all the guns. I'm going to ban all the guns because, look, it's just saving lives. And I'm going to show you some data that says, see, here's some data that shows I'm saving lives. Is that now okay to use coercion in that case, to come into your house and take your guns?
No, because even their data would be very subjective. And did you know that Switzerland has more gun ownership per capita than America?
Sure.
And the fatalities due to gun violence is almost nothing over there. They have other forms of crime, though.
Sure, of course.
You know, and you know, London, sure, guns are illegal, but it's the knife crime capital, the gang capital of the world.
Right.
So I believe gun, knife, these are tools. There are deeper issues here: education, social harmony, mental illness, you know, mental health. All those things are very important, and again, upbringing values as well. All of that stuff. Gun is a tool in your hand. You know, you can do it to save your life. You can do it to end somebody else's life. So I don't think banning. You think the crazies will not find a way to get another weapon and you know, be violent? They will.
But aren't, when the Democrats ask for that, aren't they in their heads going, but I'm helping, right? I'm not trying to be mean.
True.
I'm helping. See, I care, so I want things to be better. So take all the guns, and I can show you data that shows that I'm right in that regard.
Now, where I will agree, and I actually had a deep conversation about this with some policymakers recently. I think with this gun issue, you need to have caveats. Okay, taking away the guns, that doesn't even sound American. That will also, that's physically not even feasible. I forget that day will never come.
There's
so
a
guys,
lot of violence if that happens.
Gun owners, don't worry, nobody's coming for your guns. Now, what I will say is, you don't need weapons that are used in warfare. You don't need 8-year-olds being able to go buy that. I think you need compulsory training. I mean, there are some countries, Japan, you know, for example, you have to go through 12 rounds of sort of checks before anybody can even give you a license, right? I say that in a bit just because their former president was shot by a gun, but
yes,
homemade gun, handmade gun, so the crazies will get whatever. But I think there are certain weapons that do not belong in society. Handgun is totally okay, for defense, totally okay. You don't need an AK-47. Give me a break. Please tell me when that is.
So, in the case of the AK-47, the Democrats in this case say, okay, no AK-47s, no M16s, all those weapons, right? No rifles, right? Unless it's a hunting rifle, they do that. That would be an exception for you. I think you would be okay with that, saying that's an exception.
I think
we're okay with that.
You need to codify all these laws, have caveats, be very clear, and understand that I think the forefathers, when they wrote the Constitution, if their view was, you know, the citizen can protect themselves against the tyranny of the government, militia and stuff. Yes, that is absolutely, you have that right to, that's a God-given right for you, but there are limitations, there are caveats, and that's the last resort. You know, somebody's coming at you, that's when you use it. I think it's become a free-for-all, and people are too trigger-happy in this country. Maybe too much Hollywood, I don't know.
So your response is, okay, in that specific case, when it comes to AK-47s, M16s, and the like, it's okay to use coercion, it's okay to take that weapon, it's okay to stop that weapon. that's okay.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't know how you'd confiscate them. I think they should have never been out there in the first place, but for future laws and stuff.
So what if you spent that same concept with marriage? And you said, look, getting married is awesome, but no 70-year-old needs to marry a 20-year-old. No 70-year-old needs to marry a 20-year-old. So there's a level of difference between the two. If you're 70 and he or she is 20, you just someone's taking advantage of somebody.
I think love is just age is just a number, and love is blind. And I know men in their 70s who genuinely are married to women who are 20, 30 years younger. It's legit. It's genuine. They love each other. No, it's love. Don't do that. Don't criminalize. Also, 20 would be a minor. Well, you have to be at least. What is the legal age for marriage? 18?
Every state is different. Some are 16, some are 17, some are 18.
16 is very young.
Yep, but then you have to have parental consent.
16 is very young.
Yep. Every state's 18.
I'd say 18 or 21 actually. Make that. Why don't?
So you're telling me that if someone were to say, let's pass a law that says, look, if there is a 50-year difference or more.
That is the most ridiculous law I've ever heard of in my life. I don't think any country in the world has that.
I didn't say they should. My point is, I'm making a limitation.
You're making a case,
And the point is, the person who is older is probably being taken advantage of. That I'm trying to do the right thing. I don't want this 75-year-old person to be taken advantage by a 20-year-old who's just going to come and take all their money when they die.
Well, you could pay it.
So I don't want to do that. So I'm going to pass a law against that to protect the 75-year-old.
What about?
Because they care.
I'd protect the 25-year-old who might not know what they're doing, and what if they're this person is their youth and childhood and beauty is now being. I don't know how many people want to go down that road. So who is taking advantage of whom? I think that's debatable.
I would agree, but in this fictitious case, I'm making this law. Again, I'm not doing it because I'm mean. I'm doing it because I care about my elderly Americans. I want to make sure I'm not taking advantage of, and it does happen. There's no question that does happen in America. So because I care about my 75-year-olds plus, I want to make sure that any of them, if they get married, it's got to be within like 20 years or something. Okay. Right? Otherwise, they're going to get in trouble. People take advantage of.
Oh, wow. So I don't support that law, and I don't think that's a law anyway.
It isn't.
Yeah. I would say that if 50 years, if that's really the case, speak to a marriage therapist or a counselor before.
I'm not trying to have a problem. What I'm saying is I'm passing a law. I'm not banning marriage. I'm not. You can still get married. I'm saying if there's 50 years or more, it's against the law to protect our seniors. And all I'm saying is, if that coercion is okay, it's kind of similar to the assault rifle. It's a similar coercion. We're making an exception that if I was a gun owner, I'm not going to be happy if you take my AK-47 away. And if I'm 70 years old and I'm in love with a 20-year-old, I'm not going to be happy taking my girlfriend away.
But remember, guns and people, you have to, I understand that people have an emotional connect to their gun as they would to a partner.
I'm not sure that's true, but some people maybe.
Trust me, you'd be surprised.
Maybe. Yes.
But I think a human being and a weapon or a tool are. I wouldn't compare the two. I think these are very different laws with different, things going on. But my answer to your question is I don't support coercion in that case.
Got it. Okay.
There are other ways to maybe. I would say you'd have to go speak to some sort of. Not a judge, but someone who is going to how they do the green card interview, green card by marriage. They speak to someone who assesses. So you would still be okay that if that was the case? Get somebody to verify, are these people really in love? What's going on?
So you'd be okay with, say, a government agent in some way, whether that's immigration, whatever, that it'd be okay that if they said yes, then they can get married.
I think isn't that a nice halfway point? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Honestly, 9 times out of 10, it probably is love, and the couple wouldn't have any issues, and they should pass with flying colors if it's legit.
I got it. So in this case, there is a level where you think that it's okay to use coercion. There is a level.
And I'm more for persuasion. I'm definitely the persuasion. Now I'm very tough on certain things, but they would be other issues of national security and all of that stuff. Very different, yeah.
Got it. Okay,
Yeah.
so I get where you're going with that. So I guess my worry is the more we have those people involved, whether it's my AK-47 or my 25-year-old girlfriend or boyfriend, aren't I going to be creating less happiness, less harmony, less prosperity, the more I have a government agent involved?
I agree. So these are several different points you made.
Yep.
I think government should stay out of the bedrooms, and there's so many places that they need to stay out of. The other philosophical point I would make is the world is never going to be happy. 8 billion, you cannot make 8 billion people happy.
Valid point.
The best you can do is just try to be a good human being, and as governments, just try to make your citizens live in a safe place, be as humane and compassionate as a state can be.
So you're saying that, if I'm clear,
because you ain't going to please everyone.
that even with exceptions, you would still say, and if I'm wrong, correct me, that every government law, rule, whatever it is, should be looking at human respect first.
Yeah, and just know that every law is not everyone's going to be happy. That is that's mathematically impossible. That's
right.
The world is a lot more complex than that. But is it for the majority people, or is it for the greater good? And again, that's a bit tricky, because greater good according to whom? One person's greater good.
You said majority, and,
yes.
my worry is what you just mentioned, right?
Yeah.
If I want to, what if we all voted? What if we voted and we agree?
Yeah.
If you're 75, you can't marry someone.
Wow, if 99% of Americans say...
No, 51%. You said majority. Not 99%. 51% of Americans say, you know what, if you're 70, you cannot marry anybody under 40.
Well, that's why we have elected officials, we have a constitution, that's why we don't have... Actually, in Switzerland, they have this where you want to change something, you get 10,000 signatures or something like that. Yep. The people get to change that. That wouldn't work in America. It's too big a country.
But my point
issues are too complex. Yeah.
Most people believe that if we vote on it, it's not violence. Because we voted on it.
That's why we don't get to vote on things like this.
Okay.
That's why
you could.
Well, the government
Congress could absolutely create a law that says if you're 75, you may not marry someone under 40.
They vote on it.
A state could do that.
This is true.
And they would vote on it and say, hey, that's the new marriage law, too bad. And someone could say, wait a minute, look, we voted, so it's okay. And if you get married, they're going to come in and take your stuff.
My advice to a 70-year-old is, dude, find somebody your own age.
Okay.
I'm just joking. I've had 70-year-olds chase me.
There we
quite
go.
a few, actually.
There we go. I love it. 100%. So that's where you're going.
Yeah.
Right?
I wonder what a country like Thailand, I wonder what their laws are, because in Thailand, you go to Bangkok, oh my God, you will see a lot of 75-year-olds with a lot of 20-year-olds, men and women, and foreigners and Thai, and I really want to know how they deal with it. But Thailand is very different. That country is solely run on tourism, and they have laws. Prostitution is legal there, by the way. They have laws that specifically will make it easy for tourists to live there and be happy. So I don't know how much they like some of these laws that are that are passed in their country. They do it for their economy. So this is a survival situation for them. America doesn't have that problem.
Correct.
It's not a financial issue, right?
Yes.
Moral issue, very complicated. Very interesting, yeah.
So would you be thinking that if there was a problem, and I made it up so there isn't a problem, but if there was a problem with 20-year-old people taking advantage of 75-year-old people, if that was a thing that was happening all the time, that even with that we should still have an answer that focuses first on human respect before we go to passing a coercive law.
Yeah, and also if you're talking about manipulation, using then they should have some programs in place to crack down on. I don't know how one does that, but the issue isn't the age gap. The issue is one person is taking advantage, is financially screwing the other one. How do we avoid that? Forget the age. You can even have a 5-year difference, and that situation can happen.
Sure, absolutely. Yes,
so
absolutely.
that you should be stopping it even there. Yeah.
Okay, good. So I guess if I could wrap this up.
Yes.
What you're saying is there are some times when the principle of human respect, we have to get around and use coercion. But generally speaking, in your mind, that should be the last resort.
I think education, persuasion, inspiration, ultimately, that's what makes masses change.
Okay.
A law is...
So it's not coercion, it's persuasion that does it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the best way to get a society to move in the direction that you want it to move.
So even in our problem, you'd still rather have persuasion than coercion.
Yeah. And remember, I think every case is different.
Sure.
I do think that these issues are very complex, and when you're dealing with human beings, it's very different. You're dealing with property, yourself, a tool, a weapon, and it's very, very different. Yeah.
So the principle of human respect, while you feel there are some exceptions, is still kind of the golden rule.
Yeah, for sure.
That's going to get us more happiness, more harmony, more prosperity.
Yes, that's
awesome.
true.
I appreciate it. Good conversation.
Great conversation.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.